Greetings, everyone, and it's episode 5 today of Behind the Wheel podcast. And today we're doing something a little bit different. This is your host, Jordan, founder and CEO of GenPhysio, and I want to introduce to you Mitch. Mitch is our client services team leader. So when we say behind the wheel, the only behind the wheel that he's getting is not is to the office and back home, but he's still behind the wheel, and we want to celebrate that because he's playing a very important role, not only Mitch, but his team as well in our client services division to connect our much needed referrals and clients to our fantastic clinicians out in the community. So welcome, Mitch, onto Behind the Wheel podcast.
Thanks for having me. But the first question is, what took so long to get the call up? Number 5. Thought you'd
Number
start at the
5.
top and work your way down. But here we are. We'll make
Well,
up for lost time.
that's right. That's right. Well, I wanted to throw something in the mix and do something special today for episode 5. And,
Yep.
uh, not only our clinicians who are on the road each and every day treating clients in the community and make up the bulk of our workforce and what we do, we want to also celebrate the people behind the scenes, behind the curtains, so to speak. So you're like the Wizard of Oz, pulling the strings and making things happen so we can do what we can do out in the community and impact more lives. So
Yep.
great to have you on. Client services team leader. Now, can you talk to me a little bit about what your role is and how you and your team impact, I guess, make the biggest impact in what you do?
Yeah, so the client
To hear.
services team, I'd like to think they're the most important. We're sort of the engine room. Without us, there is sort of no appointments for the clinicians, and sometimes I think that gets a little bit lost in the day-to-day from time to time, just in general business, because we're not the ones out on the front line. But until something goes wrong and there is no appointments, then everyone realizes pretty quickly that what the girls do on the phone is pretty special. And
Yeah,
it's very challenging, but it's very rewarding as well from listening to the calls and even making the calls myself with
of
coming from
course.
a sort of a tourism background to now an allied
Mm,
health at the forefront. The calls are a lot different, but the
mm,
clients that we speak to here are probably a lot more grateful and
mm.
thankful for what we do. You think a holiday would be
Yes.
a happy thing, but man, there were some complaints over there.
So just touching on that, so
Yeah,
obviously you've been with us for a little over 6 months now. You've really hit the ground running, and you're bringing some great skills in the call center environment through your previous experience over to us. And you mentioned, yeah, from working in sales and
a
holidays now
sweatshop.
into allied health, you've hit the ground running really well. And we've seen the value with your customer service and that engagement that you naturally bring, and it's really brought a great spark to the rest of our client services team. Can you tell me a little bit about your working history and the skills that you've got in that world and how you've applied it to what you do here at Gen
Yeah,
Physio?
so for 19 years I was over in the timeshare industry in the call centers. So it was all like cold outbound sales. So it was, think of, if you want to vision it, close your eyes for a second and think of Wolf of Wall
Mhm.
Street. I was a Leonardo DiCaprio. There was
Yeah.
midget throwing. There was all sorts of things going on. But it was all good fun. But it was all cold hard sales. And at the end of the day, it was all about getting the numbers. So
Yeah.
I learned over a long period of time triggers for different people and how to motivate them and what pushed them
Mm.
and then on the flip side on the phones how to essentially sell or manipulate the clients into getting the result that we want through tried and tested over many years. But it was very rewarding, and then bringing that over to what we do here, it's a bit of an eye opener. When I first walked into the office, it was more like a library. So the first thing I did was I chucked the Bluetooth on and connected the Backstreet Boys to the speaker, and
Brought some
started to
life
get a
in.
little bit of a started to get a little bit of a vibe in the office. And yeah, that was the sort of the introduction to the office anyway.
Yeah, and obviously it's completely different, right?
Oh, much different, yeah.
Professional environment versus quite a hardcore and cutthroat sales sort of environment.
Yep. I've had to use my inside voice.
That's right. But and obviously what we did and what we really liked about your background, Mitch, and we've noticed that, when we're recruiting for different roles within the support team, that having direct allied health experience doesn't necessarily always mean that it's the most important
No,
aspect.
no.
You can bring some great skills, and you have that we wouldn't normally see in allied health, and put a good spin on it to what we're trying to achieve here at Gen Physio, and bring the team along the journey as well. General that conversationalist skills and capability is so important, and I think, well, I believe you do that and your team really well because our clients and our referrers really are our number one, above all of us. They are they're the people that we're serving, both our clinicians and here back in the support team.
Yep.
So to be that first contact is really important. So you brought been on the phone, sales, engagement with
Yep.
cold call, and now more to warm leads and now in a business that's more of an order taker than maker,
Yes.
perhaps.
Yeah,
It's
so
been a
there's still
nice switch.
there's still a lot of similarities. You'd be surprised with. As you know, when I first started, there was a lot of talk around changing it to more of a numbers driven position rather than just being customer
Yes.
service.
Yep.
At the end of the day, without the appointments being booked, and is it really good customer service for the person on the other end of the phone if they're not getting an appointment when that's
Getting the
their
service. Yeah.
entire need? Yeah, so it's nice to have all the chats and make everything squeaky clean. But clients aren't getting appointments, and we're not getting the numbers that we need. Then I don't think anyone's happy on on either side of the ledgers. It
Mm.
took a little bit of a time, probably 3 or 4 months for everyone to sort of adjust. There was a little bit of fear at the start. Oh, there's going to be numbers, but then now the team's come together, I think, better than ever, and we've got a great group of girls, and yeah, we're looking to grow as we continue to expand. So I can see
Yeah. Team's
even
growing.
looking at you'd know better than me, but the numbers, even with referrals and bookings, even in the last sort of 10 months, have doubled.
Yes.
So there's a lot more workload, but we've still got the same amount of team at the moment, and still getting through the tickets and getting the bookings.
It's amazing, yeah, what you mentioned, measuring what we're trying to do and what we are doing quite well here is measuring impact. How do you, and what does that mean? You usually around key metrics and numbers, within each division or part of the business. Obviously, clinicians have their billable hours and treatment time that they're billing for, time in front of clients or
Yep.
time that they're doing billable work that is non-face to face. It's so critical to moving the health needle for their clients, and there is other important activities that is non-billable, but the crux of it is measured around how many people how we can help our clients. Same for you, with numbers in client services. It can be a little bit daunting because when something's new, that's normally the case, but
Mm.
now you get to measure impact. And you're right that if you're able to measure the amount of appointments that we are booking in or new clients that we're booking into our clinicians' diaries, you're actually creating a positive impact because that client's getting the service that they ultimately want and need. And while all the niceties and the conversation and the customer service, which is a key part of it, it's not necessarily the key driver. So we can bring that great spin into it, which I feel that you've done really well, but also not forgetting of those sort of key metrics and numbers that ultimately, we're here to help clients. And how can we do that in the
Yeah.
best way?
And it also gives the team internally like something to drive towards as well. And so when they walk out the door, they've counted their numbers for the day, and they feel like they've succeeded rather than just I just took just processed another
Yeah.
ticket, another ticket, another ticket. So yeah, we can celebrate records and all those sort of good things as well. As we grow,
Yeah.
hopefully we
Meaning
can do more
behind.
incentives, and yeah, there's a bit more
Yeah.
meaning rather than just
Mm.
what did you do today? I came in and talked to some people. I got some wheelchairs organized.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So yeah, definitely adding a little bit more meaning around how you're making those impacts. Again, it's using those key metrics to measure the impact. So that's fantastic because I know our client services team, they get all sorts of queries, questions, referrals, questions to do business,
Yep.
complaints, which is the sad truth that we sometimes have. Touch wood, not too
Very
many.
few, surprisingly. There's very, very
Okay,
few
good.
complaints. Surprising. I thought there might have been more than there was before I started, but I'm actually pleasantly surprised that there's basically almost zero that come through our channel anyway.
And I think let's do a shout out to our
Ooh.
clinicians here because that's the great work that they're doing out in the
I've jinxed us,
community.
haven't I?
So bring on keep those good vibes and good juju
Yeah,
coming.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
And everyone turn up to their appointments on time.
That's it. Well, I know, remember I've had back when I was when I was doing about 30 to 40 consults a week, 5+ years ago now, I remember having clients, little old Betty, who would be sitting on her recliner chair for 3 hours before the appointment started, and I'd rock up 10 minutes late and wouldn't hear the end of it. And, you just, it's funny, when you get a complaint, but it's not really, or you can usually talk them
Yeah.
through it. They would never get legitimized to an actual call through
No, no,
to
no.
our client services team. But it's funny, that certainly our clinicians have to tackle all sorts of of things out on the road and clients' needs, and yeah,
Yep.
so
And
but
even
that's
for us
great.
as well, like you said, a lot of it, especially with the aged care ones, is it's just about having that communication with them that they just want to have a chat. So they might want occupational therapy, but they also want to have a 20-minute chat about what's been happening on TV and what the weather's like for the rest of the day and
Yeah,
how broken their husband is and how he needs this recliner and everything.
yeah,
But it's all part
yeah.
of the
Well, look, at the end,
process,
that's it. Again, we are changing people's lives and transforming them in a positive way. So connecting
one
the
recliner at a time.
recliner, wheelchair, TheraBand,
Yep.
absolutely. Just to, so we've talked a little bit about the client services role, booking in new referrals, managing appointments, cancellations, general customer service. Talked about sort of the key metrics with ultimately new clients being booked or clients being rebooked in and making sure they get their service. On all of that, what would you say your proudest or standout moment would be so far in the last 6 months? Is there a particular moment that you could attribute to either yourself
Oof.
or a team member
Well, it's
within?
there's been a lot of changes over the last 6 months for us, even in the 6 months I've been there. So when I first started, I knew I was going to do some of the role myself for the first or whatever 2 or 3 days a week or so. So I
Mhm.
did that, and I was actually surprised at how I was able to still make phone calls. First of all, because I hadn't made phone calls, and I used to avoid them like the plague at the other job because I didn't have to. Coming in, it was like a fresh start, and then I sort of got so used to doing them that it was hard to almost let go of them when I needed to step back because I was like, oh, it was nice ticking those boxes and getting those bookings on the board
Mm,
like the old days. That was at least to get that monkey off my back and do the job was the first step for me. But then I suppose the second and third one is just seeing that the team take on those numbers and then hit records after records consistently over the last 6 months. Has been nice, and also that everyone's been able to stay relatively relaxed at work and not get freaked out by the bigger numbers of referrals that have come through as well. So as a small team, we can't afford anyone to be away because there's too much work and it's too much panic stations.
well, look, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, through your leadership and what you brought to the team, those key metrics to focus on, but also providing that support as well and uplifting them in their own performance so they can hit numbers that they thought they weren't achievable and get the bookings that they need. I think that is a great standout for yourself as well. And to see the team lift and come together united, that's really critical. And I know we're growing the team even more now, which is fantastic, just through demand of people love our GenPhysio clinicians and want to use us more. So that's fantastic. So supporting clinicians, how does your team help clinicians thrive in their day-to-day work? How would you
Are these
describe that?
these sound like pre-prepared questions, Jordan?
They are. So I'm hoping for great answers.
I know you sent me the questions, but I didn't look at them. I was like, we'll be fine. And so here we are,
Off the fly. So
off the
how does
fly.
your team help clinicians thrive in their data? How, and we've talked a
Yes,
little bit about it, but in clear, how do you feel that your team helps them
our sort
succeed?
of our frame of mind has to be that whatever we can do to take off their plate is first and
Mm,
foremost. Like even I know it might sound small, but even when clinicians were taking sick days, originally they were calling all their own clients still to let them know they weren't coming, which just doesn't make sense if they're sick that they would still be making the calls. So I don't know if it's sort of transitioned even in the last 2 months that now they're coming to us and they're confident that we'll be able to, I suppose, do the job for them and look after their clients. Because obviously they're very protective. They're their clients. They've seen them for sometimes
yeah.
years.
Yes.
But yeah, I suppose that's sort of one of the small changes that I've noticed that they're more confident to come to us now and let us take over all that sort of admin or that burden that they may have had outside of actually doing their clinical work. I know. Well, that's a good question, Jordan. So I think I've got the questions here. I could just probably answer them myself somewhere. All right. What do we got here? His next question is going to be challenges. So the best part about the role. It's probably the best part about the role in GenPhysio is probably hearing the stories and seeing some of the emails come in because I take all the emails where people are actually giving real life examples of success stories where their child's now able to say communicate with them or their elderly mother is able to now get up and walk and move around and go to the grandchild's birthday or whatever the sort of situation is that I've seen over the last 6 months. So that's always really nice and that's a really good thing to be a part of to see that there's a major change in someone's life, and that's because of the process that we've put them through, which is awesome. Hardest part is waiting till, for me, the hardest part's waiting till 10 o'clock to have my first can of V. But apart from that, hardest part's just there's not too many hard parts actually. There's really not. Tips. What other tips have we got? It's just about for the team staying calm with the workload and knowing that we'll catch up, especially at the moment while we are a small team and it's impacted greatly by one or two being away. Our workload can fluctuate, but apart from that, I don't really have any issues. It's pretty smooth sailing majority of the time. That was a great question though, Jordan. Next question. Beyond the job, something people might not know about me. So, do a lot of sports videography on the weekends and whatnot. I love a little bit of content creation, whether it's my own YouTube, my son's YouTube, or filming other people's sports. It's always good to get out and wave the camera around and create some memorable moments. What else have we got? Quick fire round. He's not going to be happy I've asked all the questions to myself. But anyway, quick fire round. Go to lunch. Cafe 47. It may look like you're about to get food poisoning, and it may look absolutely horrific. But downstairs, they do the best chicken karagi rice bowl. Hold on, he's trying to call. They do the best chicken karagi rice bowl you've ever heard. But if you do go down to Cafe 47, if you come into head office, I'm still going, Jordan. I'm going solo. So if you are going to Cafe 47, go down, get the hot sauce, extra mayo, karagi, all day, every day, baby. $13.80. If you give them a little side wink, they'll drop it down to 10 even. Apart from that, what else have we got? Coffee order. No coffees around here. Straight into the big green cans or the Red Bulls and get my wings so I can fly. And favorite playlist, anything. I used to have the Britney Spears posters up on the wall, but I've now gone over to the dark side and we're on the country tunes. So yeehaw. Apart from that, that sort of wraps up a bit about me. All right, I'll go find Jordan and see where he is. How's it?